Hello and welcome to the Faded Wildflower Crochet. My name is Rachel. And guys, it is spring. We made it through the winter. What better way to celebrate than to make some cute spring-themed amigurumi? So I tested out 4 different patterns to see if they're worth your time this spring. So what is the first animal that you think of when it comes to spring? Of course, it's a bunny. So I had to make this cute little no-sew bunny by Emmy Toys on Instagram. So let's go ahead and cut to bunny making, Rachel. Okay, here she is, and I do think she is very cute, but I have to say that there's just a little bit something off about the proportions to me. The head looks a little bit too small, and I really think that that comes down to the fact that I used a thinner, fluffier yarn as opposed to the thicker chenille yarn that the original pattern was written in. I will say though, this pattern is extremely well written. This has the most photos of any Instagram pattern that I have ever tried before. I felt like this is a really good choice if you want a no-sew bunny. The no-sew directions worked up very well. No-sew is still not my personal preference, but I know that a lot of you guys like it. So actually 2 of the patterns today are no-sew patterns. It is very nice though when you are done with the crocheting that you're actually just done and you don't have to do any of the sewing. I see the appeal. I still prefer to sew on my pieces. If I were to make this again, especially if I were to make it in this thinner, fluffy yarn, I would probably add just 1 more round of increases to the head and maybe just like a couple more rounds just to make the head a little bit bigger. But other than that, it is so cute, so well written, and really quick too. So the next pattern that I tried out for today's video is actually not technically free. It is part of a book, but I got that book free on the app Hoopla, which Hoopla is an app that you can get through your library if you have a library card. So I checked out the book Beetles, Bugs, and Butterflies by the author Lydia Tesselet, and I chose the Ulysses butterfly. So let's go ahead and cut to butterfly making, Rachel. Okay, so here she is, and she is fabulous. Look how cute. I absolutely love these wings. There is so much to love about this pattern. So the way that this book is written, the head, the body, the cap, and then this portion that you sew the wings onto is a base pattern in the front part of the book, and that applies to a lot of different patterns. And I showed in the clips that I completely messed up on the body. I switched what should have been black and gray. Those two colors are flipped on the body, but I didn't realize it until I got to like right here. And I was like, you know what? I'm not redoing it. It looks fine. There is so much that I love about this pattern, but my favorite thing is that the wings can come off and even the cap can come off. I think this would be really, really fun for a kid to play with. You could even make a little chrysalis that it could go inside of, and then you could put the wings on. I think that this is so fun and so cute as well. So each of the patterns does have its own individual wing section. And when it came to that part, that's definitely the most challenging part of this pattern is the wings. I do love the way they have you work it up where each of these is two separate pieces that you crochet together. So as you can imagine, this does take quite a while to make. And I don't know if it was just the way that my ebook was formatted, but these sections, or some of the sections anyway, where you're making the wings are just like huge paragraphs with no line breaks. And I'm not gonna lie, it hurt my brain a little bit. I got there, but it was not the easiest to read. So the one thing that I did change about this pattern is that they have you working this little thing right here that you sew the wings onto. They have you working that in back loop slip stitches. And it was just too many slip stitches for me. I don't know why, but I struggle with like crocheting into a bunch of slip stitches. I don't know if I just do them too tight, but I just went for back loop single crochets and I think it looks just fine. So if you're going to choose this pattern, I would say expect to take a little bit of time with this. This does take a little bit longer, especially compared to the other three patterns I chose, which were very quick. This was definitely the most time consuming, and expect a little bit of a challenge when it comes to the wings, but it is so worth your time. I have my eye on some of the moths in this pattern book. I think it would be so fun to make them in a fluffy yarn, so stay tuned for that one. But definitely recommend this. I think these are so fun, and if you have a little one that likes to play with things, then I think this would be perfect for that. So the next pattern is actually a really cool 2-in-1 pattern. So just by changing up the colors, you can either make a chick or a duck, and it comes with either a hat accessory or a headphones accessory. And this is by May Does Crochet on Instagram. So let's go ahead and cut to duck making, Rachel. Here he is, and isn't he just so adorable? I love him. My daughter pointed out that he looks like the Pokemon Quaxley, which I didn't know what that was before because I've only ever played Generation 1 of Pokemon, but she thinks that is absolutely cute, and I agree. I really have nothing but good things to say about this pattern. It was so well written. I love how versatile it is. Just by changing the colors, you can either make a duck or a chick, and honestly, you can make other birds as well with this pattern. I love that it came with the headphone and the hat. Now, I didn't make the headphones, but they look very cute. I did make the hat, and I love that she has you go down a hook size so that the hat fits nice and secure, so it is removable. And my daughter pointed out that you can do that, and it looks like a little bucket hat. Like, how adorable is that? I'm gonna leave it as a bucket hat because I think that is so cute. The one thing that I did change about this pattern is that instead of just embroidering a beak on, I did crochet it and then sew that on. I just prefer the way that looks, but other than that, truly no notes about this pattern. It is so much fun. So for the last pattern of this video, I let my younger daughter choose, and she wanted a bee, and she particularly wanted this little bee by Once Upon a Cheerio. And it is another no-sew pattern. So let's go ahead and cut to bee making, Rachel. Okay, here she is, and oh my goodness, she is quite cute. My daughter did choose all of the colors for this, the sparkly yarn with the sparkly eyes, and she also wants me to make a bow and tutu for her, which I will put a picture of if I get to that by the time I'm editing this video. This pattern has a ton of photos. It is really, really easy to follow. Now, as you can tell, his head is quite large. So I kind of had the opposite problem with this one than I did for the bunny, where the bunny's head looked a little too small. I think this one's head looks a little too big. It might be better in a different type of yarn. I think I might make it again in a thinner velvet. And the other change that I would make is to give it 6 legs instead of just 2. I think that would just take it over the top in the terms of cuteness. Other than that, though, I have no notes about this pattern. I think it was so easy, so fun, and really quick too. I made this in one evening. I realized partway through that I forgot to put them in the background as I went, like I usually do, but they're back there now. And I also forgot to mention how much I love that my butterfly matches the Lego butterfly that my husband made. Now, if you ever see Lego in my video, it is all built by my husband. So between his hobby and mine, our whole house is decorated in Lego and crochet. So I love that for us. I do have one bonus pattern to talk about, which I didn't include any footage of me making it because I didn't make it for this video. And I don't have it in my hands right now because my daughter has it somewhere around the house. I'm not sure where she put it, but it is this absolutely adorable little sheep by the designer All About Ami. It is on her blog for free. It is made in such a clever way. Stephanie, the designer of All About Ami, is so talented. I absolutely love her designs. I've made a few of them over the years, and this is part of her Chinese Zodiac collection. And I have made it a goal for myself to make all of them. I've made 2 so far. It's just so fun, and it's so quick as well. You might think that it would take a while, but it is actually surprisingly quick to make. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you had to choose between one of these 4 cuties to be your favorite, who would it be? That is a really hard choice for me. I really like the butterfly, but I also like the duck. And they're both cute for different reasons. I don't know that I can choose. I think they're tied for first for me. I'm cheating. If you have made it to this part of the video, I want to know, what were you working on as you watched today's video? If you did like today's video, be sure to hit the like button. You can subscribe, stick around. Let me know what other kind of videos you want to see next. You can join my Patreon where I make a bonus video as well as an exclusive pattern once a month. And thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time.